So, Jani McGuire, you're with the Torch Foundation. You have been a coach and a trainer for 30 years. What's the key to working with teenagers? It's a mystery to me, and I hope you can clear it up.
Oh, just one key?
Well, if there's one, we'll start with the top three. Whatever you, what,
What are the
Well, I
heavy
would
hitters?
say, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd say the first thing that came to my mind was meet them where they are.
ah,
Hmm.
okay,
Meet them where they are, not where you want them to be, not where you wish and hope them to be. Listen to them, pay attention, ask them questions, and meet them where they are.
wow, it's kind of like being married to somebody, isn't
Hmm.
Yeah, I know about that too.
it? So, Jani McGuire, I'm just really excited to have you. You know, on your LinkedIn profile, it says you're a master trainer. But and I got to thinking about that, and I said there's another element here called intuition. And then I looked at your bio, and boom, there was the word.
Hmm.
And you know where that intuition comes from is 30 years of experience.
Mhm.
And you are, without a doubt, one of the most intuitive counselors, trainers that I've ever run into in the way you work with these teens. So you seem to have a knack for knowing exactly where to go with one of these people as they're standing in front of you. And I really admire that.
Oh, that you just made my year. I'm ready for 2025. And I know I have that. And I don't know when that all started. I've always been really curious. I'm a curious person, and that curiosity has driven me. I love people. I love asking questions, and I love learning about why somebody does what they do. Why do they feel that way? Why do we all feel that way? Why do I feel that way? I'm curious about myself. And that curiosity has taken me really far in this work, to work with people, especially with teens. And when you ask questions and then listen,
Uh huh.
you
Crucial.
realize that people already know. They're already, we all are masters of our own life. We
Right.
just often don't maybe have a resource or have had anybody guide us. But I tell the kids, you're brilliant. You know. And our favorite
Right.
thing to do is when I tell my coaches, because I train coaches to work with us while we do the workshops. If you're asking one of the kids a question and they say, I don't know, what we say back is, well, if you did know, what would you say?
Right.
Oh, I
Of
love
course.
And
it.
they tell you immediately, because
Yeah.
I don't know is just common, right? Because nobody really asks a teenager what they think, how they feel, what do they want to
Right.
do. They
Right.
tell them what to do. They're
Yeah.
constantly being told what to do.
Right.
So when you say, well, I don't know, what do you want to do? What do you think? What do you know? And they look at me and you can see this moment of, you're really asking me? Oh, okay.
Right.
And
You
they
really
answer
see
you
me. Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
So, by the way,
So
I'm Dr. Mark Waller. I've been a marriage family therapist for 25 years, and this is my trusty sidekick and partner, Christina Black.
hello.
And together we have this podcast called Mastering Thought, where we talk about the mind, marriage, and mental health. And but I gave up seeing teens in my practice many years ago, not
Yeah.
because of the teens, but because I was tired of their parents.
Oh,
So
interesting. Right.
Yeah.
it turned out that they didn't want therapy for their teen; they wanted a parent for their teen, and they refused to play the role of parent, and that's why I
Oh,
kind of opted out
interesting.
of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that.
So when
Hmm.
you said you had 30 years of experience as a coach and a trainer, I thought you must have started when you were 10 years old. So that's,
Well, thank you. No, I was 30. Um, and yeah, I just started with my own I went to a human development program, a self-help program, and that was before people, life coach, what's that? Nobody said that, but they called
Yeah.
them coaches there, and I went in and
right.
went back in and coached, and then I coached the coaches. And so I was, running those and working back then in transformation. Nobody talked about transformation.
Right.
It was very
Yeah,
small group of us, and that people that kind of knew about it. And then years later, I was asked to join in with a nonprofit that a woman that I was working with had developed. And she says, jump on in and you can be, do training with this. And I said, okay, great. And she says, oh, but I forgot to tell you it's with teenagers. And I said, no, I don't want to. I have some of those.
yeah,
And, they're kind of
and they're
rude.
tough.
And yeah, and they're I don't know, I had all these assumptions about teenagers, and she laughed and she said, well, I have this vision. I really think how amazing it would be for us to teach social emotional intelligence at a young age and be able to give them these tools for
Totally.
their future. And
Yeah,
I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I went into that first one and I was hooked, because I
yeah.
tell the kids, I'd rather work with you than your parents any day,
Right.
because
I don't
they're
know if
smart.
it's I don't know if it's similar for you. I do a body work and a nervous system therapy, and what I've noticed is working on babies is way easier than working on people who believe their story deeper and deeper.
Yes.
Like babies, they just release tension so fast, and parents or kids or adults will have to work through the emotional turmoil that brought them to that sort of tension.
Oh,
So
for sure. It's layers. Yeah.
I want to give
Yeah.
a little bit more information about Jani. She she was an actress many many years ago, and she's an amazing interior designer. So like so many of us, we have lots of different careers these days. But tell us about the Torch Foundation and how that started and where that came from.
So, as I said before, the woman Margot was a visionary through a company she had, which was working with adults. And she had this vision of doing this work with teenagers, and uh, asked me to come in. It was at the very beginning, and I said yes, and I jumped in. And we used to, have 65, 70 kids in a room, which was a
Wow.
lot to take
Yeah.
on, a lot.
Yeah.
And it was tough. We don't have that anymore. Things have changed, and I notice a difference with the kids now than back then. They don't trust as much anymore. They're very weary after COVID. It's very different. But I like
Mhm.
the intimacy of a smaller 30 to 35 is really the greatest. And I worked with them for about 5 years, and then went off to do work with women. I love writing processes and content. So I had written another program to work with women, and I had written a book. So I went off and did that, and then created my own nonprofit to work with teens. Years later, got back into working with teenagers. I can't get away from it. I don't know what it is. It is my calling, I know now. And then Margot passed away in 2019. And before she did, I went to see her. She was sick. And we talked about Torch. And I said, do you want me to come back? And she said, if you feel called to. And then she passed, and COVID hit. And I really did feel called to come back to Torch. I had closed my nonprofit, and we had moved out of the LA area. And I reached out to Torch again, and we just came back together. And I told him I had rewritten a workbook, and so added to it what had already been there, and we revised a few things. And they hired me on as their consultant and lead trainer. And I just feel so blessed and honored. And I know it's where I'm supposed to be. And I tell the kids, you're not getting rid of me till I'm 100. And I'm just excited to have this go far and wide, because every teenager deserves to have this. I've had a vision for years that this should be right alongside of math class and English, and teaching these types of skills. And if I could really quick say, the results of this work it still blows me away. I pinch myself on Sunday after we're done. It's 2 days where we go in from 10 until 5. And by Saturday night, when we sit in circle and I ask the teens, tell me how you're feeling, what's going on, and they'll say words like, I feel at peace. I feel calm. One boy said one time, I feel content. And I said, content? That's such a big word. Do you know what that means? He says, yeah, sure. And I said, do you know there's people who spend their whole life could never say, I
Right.
feel content. And to know
Wow.
that in just those few hours, being together in a safe, loving, nurturing, accepting space, they light up. And we don't talk about, do A, B, and C, and you'll be a better person, or do better in school. You need
Right.
to study harder. You need to go to college. You need to get straight A's. We talk nothing about school, nothing about their grades. We talk about self empowerment. We talk about being responsible. And one of the first signs they see when they come in the room is if it's to be, it's up to me, and
Mm,
accountability. And I say,
Wow.
look, the world is not going to hand you your life on a silver platter. Sorry, guess what? It's not easy. It's going to be a struggle and you're going to get through it. But the more times you get through the tough times, that's how you build self confidence and self esteem.
mhm,
It's realizing that you can and that you are
mhm.
so much more capable than you even imagine. And on their own, after 2 days, I hear from their coaches because they have regular coaching calls, weekly coaching check in calls, setting goals. They'll tell me, oh, yeah, this boy he had a D in math and he was failing in this class. He went directly to his teacher on Monday morning after the 2 days and asked for makeup work. And in 2 weeks, raised his grade to a B and an A. That to me is what I'm so proud of, is because it comes from
Yeah.
within them. It's
Mhm.
self-motivated action. It's not because somebody told them to. They're sick and tired of people
Yeah.
telling them what to do. And I would ask the kids later, why did you do that? And they said, well, because Jani, you said nobody's going to do it for me. And it
Right.
really
Mhm,
woke me up. I realized, yeah, if it is to be, it is up to me. And they
mhm.
own that. And it's so exciting for me to see that, because as we all know, it has to come from within you. Any change, any desire to have something different, you have to look within. You can't blame others. You can't point the finger at somebody else. Well, my teacher said I did, my parents didn't, life,
Mhm.
society, social media. It's their responsibility, and they
Right.
So,
take it.
so let me just show you this.
Mhm.
These are this is from the Torch website describing these teen leadership workshops for teens ages 13 to 17. The cost is actually free, but then I wanted to point out that the length is 2 days on a weekend usually, right?
Yes.
Plus, plus you have a facilitator who follows up with the participants for 30
Mm.
days after that. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
How
Now the
often
other,
do they reach out?
They have a phone call with their coach, 20-minute phone call once a week for 4 weeks, and then they become a graduate.
Okay, that's neat.
So it is an incentive, it's and nothing is a have to.
Yeah.
These, they don't have to do this. I told
Yeah.
them that from the beginning. You don't have to be here. I know probably somebody made you come here, told you, dropped you off at the corner and said go. But by choice, we always have choice. They are in choice.
Right.
And yes, do you want to get a certificate to be proud of? Yes, because you can use that. It's a leadership certificate to get into college and get a job if you want, if that's what you want. So it is
Okay.
a commitment and accountability and making their calls on time, because we talk a lot about being your word, being a person of
Yeah.
integrity. And they make those calls, and they have 20-minute calls with the coaches that I've trained. I train all the coaches and set them up so they know they have a script that they go by each week. They're covering certain topics and following up with the kids and following up on the goals that they have set. And
Right.
as I tell them, it's not about you accomplishing the goal. It's who you need to be to make it happen, and who you get to be in the process, and what you learn about yourself to have that goal come true, because it's the journey, not necessarily not necessarily the destination. And we call it get out of your comfort zone, get into the die zone at Torch. So the kids go
Mhm.
into their die zone, which is, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that, or don't want to do that. I would rather die than speak on a
Mhm.
microphone. I would rather die than tell
Mhm.
people how I really feel. We say that in our little voice. I would rather die. So
Mhm.
the kids love it. They are excited to tell their coach, I went into the die zone this week and I didn't die.
So
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 there's
cute.
just before I turn it over to Christina, because I know she's got some questions. I wanted to point out this: these are the topics, many of which you've already referred to. These are the topics in the workshop, and the one I want to key in is this one right here:
Mhm.
self-awareness, because I really feel like in listening to you, the self-awareness that they experience is kind of the foundation that these other skills end up being built on top of.
mhm.
Because self-awareness is
Sure.
really the whole
Sure.
theme of our channel here, but it's more for adults. And I'm wondering how you guide these teens into a journey of discovering what self-awareness actually is and how they experience that in this workshop.
Within the first maybe hour. So we start 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. I am already talking to them about the little voice inside their head.
Okay, perfect.
Neat.
And yeah, and I'll say, that little voice that's saying all those things to you. And if they look at, they kind of look at me and I said, the little voice that just said, what little voice? That that voice, that one right there, right there. And some of them will nod, some of them will still look a little, I'm not sure. And so I said, this whole weekend, I'm going to be asking you, what is your voice saying? What is your voice saying right now?
Okay.
Especially when by noon, they are all getting up and speaking on a microphone. They're all getting out of their comfort zone and
Mm-hmm.
getting up and sharing something about themselves on the microphone before noon. And I'm saying, what is your voice saying right now? Just notice it. Just notice is one of my favorite things to say.
Right.
Notice what your voice is saying and then say, okay, is that true? Is
Right.
this microphone, this piece of metal, going to control you, or are you going to have power over that? What is your voice saying right now? And then when we go throughout the whole weekend, I'm always asking them, what does your voice just say? When I say just a little something. So for instance, I'll say to them, okay, let's practice a little voice test right here. And I look at them and I say, I love you. And they look at me. I said, what did your voice just say? And one girl said, my voice said, I love you back. And I said,
Aw.
great. And one said, my voice said, how can you love me? You don't know me. I said, exactly. And our voices can either support us, empower us, or they can pull us back.
Yeah.
So I choose to love you because that's the way I live my life. I love everyone. That's my choice. So we talk about the voices right away, and I give them little things so they can start to recognize it. And Mark, you're going to love this. One group were very talkative. They were the most inquisitive, curious kids, and they kept raising their hands and asking me questions. And one boy, he said, well, if I'm not that voice, or that, what is that voice? If it's not, where did the voice come from? He starts asking all about that. And I thought, okay, we're going into the advanced, voice. And I said, okay, I'm going to say something to you. Just hang on tight. You are not the voice. It has just come into your mind like a download, like a computer download over the years of all the events that have happened to you have created the voice. So imagine then like a computer. So imagine you're watching or looking at the computer. So you are the observer of that voice.
Right.
And he said, cool. He just thought it was so cool. I don't know if he really got it, but I did one time actually go that far with
Have
them
to
and
go
say,
there.
imagine, yeah, you're the observer of
Yeah.
the voice. And you could
So
see them
good.
really thinking. It was so cool. So,
Yeah.
It's
Great
like mastering
analogy.
thought for teenagers, isn't it, Christina?
Yeah, for real.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
Just the
what we do
beginning.
here.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and
wonderful.
what I'm really intrigued about too with this program is that because I have been able to do some of Mark's exercises that have resulted in like a kind of a awakening. well, it is an awakening, but I was trying to think about verbiage to use to make it fit with this conversation. But really, what I found is that with at least at this point, I'm still figuring out how to handle emotional dysregulation that I can have. And I'm getting better, and Mark's tools are really helping me. But I almost see a little bit of a benefit, and I'd be curious about your point of view, because I can do the awareness stuff and I can do the thought watching and I can check my limbic system as long as I'm not in fight or flight. But I wonder about like things that can help take me out of fight or flight more. And it seems like maybe a program like this can help people feel more confident and lower their anxiety so that they're not as likely to go in fight or flight and they can stay in their higher brain.
It does.
Yeah.
The kids have actually said, one girl, it was in December, and I just spoke with her coach last week, and she was getting in a lot of fights.
Yeah.
And she said no fights had broken. She had not been in any fights because she was stopping herself.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
She was self-regulating. She was
Mm-hmm.
aware that we talk about E plus R equals O, an event plus your reaction equals the outcome. So we talk about that. So your reaction, your
Mm-hmm.
response creates an outcome. So who's
Mm-hmm.
in control? The person on the
Well,
other side of it? No, you can't
yeah,
control
me.
them. Only person you can
Mm-hmm.
control is yourself. And learning what they can actually control within themselves, which are their thoughts, which are their actions. Thoughts lead to actions. So she was able to stop herself and pay attention to a thought, which was maybe an anger, reactive anger, and
Mm-hmm.
stop herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's, I mean, we hear it all the time. These kids are, or taking action in a positive, realizing, oh, I just realized my voice, or I'm stopping myself because I just told myself that's a scary thing to do. I'm
Mm.
afraid. And then they said, oh, well, no, I'm not afraid. That's not even real. That's false.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
And
Right.
I'm
just on
going
the
to go
computer
for it.
screen.
So it goes both ways. They're more aware of their thoughts and the voice, and
Yeah.
taking responsibility and taking the action. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so neat. That's so neat.
So I
So
hope
like
it.
after
Go ahead.
oh go
I'm
ahead, Mark.
sorry. No, you. This is what
After
happens.
I know that tiny bit of lag from just having to go to space and back with the info. But anyway, I was going to ask after the 4 weeks if people still felt like they needed or wanted to be involved. What are their options of the after they graduate?
So they can still keep connection with their coach.
Mm-hmm.
But we make sure it doesn't become I mean, we have rules and stuff. We're not big brothers, big sisters. They don't go pick them
Yeah,
up and do that.
to
But in,
Disneyland.
text messages and support. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're working on that. With my nonprofit before I had after school program, which we're working on. There, one of the girls came to me and she said she came back to volunteer after she had done it, so they can come back and volunteer, which means they can see it again, and some of them even want to
totally.
come back and audit, which they do. We let only about four come in, and they can come back and audit because they'll say, you told us, Jani, that we would not remember what happened on Saturday because we our voice inside our head was going, and we really want to focus and pay more attention. So some of them want to come back, which is awesome. I'm like, of course you can come back.
Yeah.
Some come back, volunteer with us, and then they can support the kids that are in there. And
Mhm.
one young lady was there when I was there in November, and she came back to volunteer, and we were talking, and she said, this should be in every school in the United States. And I said, oh, I know. And she said, the woman that came to enroll at the school, she was a little bit older. Nothing bad about that. But I think it'd be great if the kids were the ones enrolling. And we should start a torch club and
Oh
have it be
yeah.
run by the kids. And I said, I'm all over it. So to her, I said, tell me how you want to do it. We will support you, and that's going to happen. So, yes, to continue, there are certain teens that do it, that eat it up and want more and more. Eventually, we're going to have camp. I did camp before. We're going to have camp again, so that there are incentives for those who want to keep going. which
Yeah.
happens with a lot of them. There's some that say that was great and they go on and they've got their tools. There's some that just they want to be there. They want to be
Sure.
because it's so loving and
Hmm.
so caring. It is the most beautiful space to be in, and they feel it. No cell phones for 2 days. And I'll have these kids leave on Sunday night. Their parents come, and it's a beautiful ceremony and lots of tears and acknowledgement of each other and understanding of the parents and the student and their child. And they'll be so excited they're going to be running out the door, and we'll say, did you want your phone, or we'll just keep it for you? They
Do
forget
you want us to
their
sell it for you?
phones. Yeah, they forget their phones. That tells me a lot.
That's so cool that they
Yeah.
don't need it anymore. They feel
No.
okay without it.
Yeah, they're really
That's so
feeling, yeah, because they've had eye contact with another human and they've
for real.
communicated and talked and sat down on
Right.
the ground. We just sit there and talk and how you feeling? What are you noticing? What's going on
Yeah.
with your little voice? Awareness, awareness, awareness constantly. Where do you
I
feel it in
just
your
I love
body?
the way you're presenting the voice, though. I just love
Yes.
the approach.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes so much sense.
Um,
Yeah.
I was really enjoying, and this is for anybody who's interested in Jani's foundation. I was watching the video on the What We Do part of their site, and it is incredible, first of all, and so sweet to see the before and afters of the kids like saying what they think they might get out of the weekend and then like saying who they are by the end.
Yeah.
And just knowing that it was whatever, less than 20 hours they've been in this program. And it's like you could see a new person emerge out of them. And I did notice that each of them were saying what kind of leader they were. So I was assuming that you were trying to say, like, everyone has a leader in you and like you have your zone where you can apply that or something like that. Yeah.
Those are their personal contracts that they
Okay.
make for themselves. I am a
Okay.
committed, passionate, powerful leader. And
Uh huh.
we I say, look, there's going to be many days in your life that you are feeling great, everything's wonderful, and half of your life you're going to be feeling terrible. That's just normal. That's normal. And
Mm-hmm.
so on those days when you wake up and you feel lost, you feel you have high anxiety or you feel scared, you're going to have a contract that you say to yourself that gets you up out of bed, that empowers you. So I encourage them not to pick words that they already are. So you're not going to pick, I'm a caring, loving, kind. We know that you are. You already are caring, loving, kind, or, whatever the words they pick. Pick words that give you butterflies in your stomach that you say, oh,
Yeah.
no, whoa, whoa, oh
Almost.
my gosh. Like if you're super analytical and you want everything in line, pick the word spontaneous.
Yeah.
Pick the
Yeah.
word that's going to have you stretch out of your comfort zone. So when you say it, it's where you're headed. Mine is my contract, which is 35 years old. I'm a committed, passionate, powerful leader. I picked those words because I was not committed at the time. I was far from passionate and I was far from powerful. And so
Okay.
those that has stuck with me for all this time, and they own it and they say it with conviction. And they'll come up to me, they have to come up to me with their contract. To I say, you got to blow my hair back with that contract. I want to hear it. You got to say it out loud, because I'm not, you can't look down on your notes. You have to own it and say it. And
Yeah.
sometimes I send them back to their group. I'm like, nope, I don't believe
Come
it.
back
I
again.
don't feel it. And so by the time they're saying that, it is this powerful
Yeah.
ownership of these three words that they have
Yeah.
chosen that's going to move them, because we always need some sort of touchstone, something, a thing we say, an affirmation that gets us going. And some kids put it up on their ceiling, so it's like they get it, they write it on big pieces of paper. You saw on the video they were holding up these big pieces of paper, so
Yeah.
they write them, and then we paste them up on the walls. So when the parents come in on Sunday, they see them all around the room, and
So
it's beautiful.
cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
I
Yeah, I
think
love
your
it.
work is so important because I think we've all known for a long time that we don't teach kids anything about bank accounts. We don't teach them anything about relationships. There's a lot of things we don't teach them. And since COVID, I'm not sure we teach them anything, actually. But the thing that you're doing is so foundational and so
Hmm.
critical. and it's been so overlooked, you know.
Yes.
And what's the plan for growth? I mean, what's happening? Is it metastasizing out there? Is it expanding? What's going on?
Oh, well, I picked my word for this year, and it's collaborate.
Okay.
And
Oh,
I know that we cannot do this alone. And doing this, like, I'm so grateful that you invited me here to do this, to get the word out about what we're doing. And anyone who wants us to come to their school, all you need to do is reach out on the website and we'll be there. And
that's so cool.
I'm in charge of getting as many coaches as possible so that we go wherever we're needed, and more trainers, because I can't do them all. It's just me, but I have more. We have
Mm-hmm.
amazing trainer Mary Jo. She's with us, so we have more than one, and we're going to get more so that we can saturate the United States with this. And
Yeah.
have every teenager gets to have this.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It's just it's yes, it is overlooked. You're right, Mark, and it's not being taught. And maybe in homes, yes, they're teaching
Right.
this. But the other thing is what the really important component is compassion and empathy,
Yes. Yes.
because we as a society have lost compassion and empathy for
Right.
our fellow human beings.
Right.
And we do a process in there that is so profound and so deep. It's like as if you were walking in another person's shoes. We talk
Mm-hmm.
about assuming. You cannot assume that you know what it's like to be another. And we
Mhm.
bully other people. We judge other people. We put them
Right.
down because they're different than we are. And the truth is we are more alike than we are different.
Mm-hmm.
And this group, whether they know each other or don't know each other, and if they do, they go to the same school, they realize, wow, that kid who's always getting in fights is because his family's broken and he is struggling. And
Right.
that girl who's straight A, who is the head cheerleader, who looks like she's happy all the time, is suicidal.
Right.
Mhm.
And so all of a sudden they come together and say, wow, I had no idea that we are so much more the same. I'm getting goosebumps because I this kind of thing. To me, this
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 is
is
what life is
what
about.
we all, yes. And they
Mhm.
love each other and they hug each other and they become this bonded group. The kids that go
Yeah.
through it on those 2 days are just madly in love with each other at the end, and they've got each other's backs. And they pick
Mhm.
a buddy, so they have a buddy for life. And that to me is one of the components that's really missing in our world. And if it's 1 or 2 or 5 trillion, we've got to start giving this work out there. And I don't say the word teaching, but offering up heart work. It
Do,
Mhm.
do,
is so important right
do you
now.
think that along with everything you just said, that the way we put these kids through COVID was very damaging, but the one thing that they learned was that the adult world was seriously flawed.
Mhm.
And it feels to me like these kids, the kids I've worked with, are far more open to taking a deeper look at things. I know we hear a lot about social media and everybody's on their skateboard and all that stuff, but they're street smart and they know there's something bigger out there.
Yeah.
And they know that, it was supposedly being offered to them, but then they went through COVID and they realized it wasn't at all. It was all a sham. And the thing collapsed in front of them.
Yeah.
And it feels like we have a generation that's ready more for this level of living than ever before.
Mm.
Now, maybe that's
Interesting.
just my,
Yeah.
you know,
I do think there is something to the face to face, like the benefit of face to face interaction. And, like I would consider my husband and I very good parents. But we just had a day yesterday where we just had a lot of stuff on our mind. And when I was like watching the video and I saw on there, you said that less than 30% of teens report having 2 hours or more of face to face contact per day. And I was thinking about how sad that is, especially if like you're on your phones or you're nonstop moving around. And it doesn't change the fact that kids need that. And it
Mhm.
was very sobering for me, thinking like, not that I have to be the one to give them a solid 2 hours. They all stayed home sick yesterday, so that was part of it. But like, am I at least trying to give them like an hour, or like knowing that they're going to get an hour from someone else? Or like, can I try to like sort of think of a plan to see how they could get an accumulative of 2 hours minimum, like just as a thought, not that I need to be a slave to that, but it was really neat. And it's like, my husband and I work tirelessly at growing as people and nonstop. And so it's like, even in that very good case scenario, my children weren't still having a need met. And that's like with people who are trying. So, with people who have too much on their plate and they can't try, or people who never had someone show them how to do it, so they never knew how to try to meet their kids' needs in that way. Like, it's so cool. I think that you not only have a place for the kids to come and learn all at the same time, and get that like classroom excitement out of like, okay, I'll pause and hold my disbeliefs, and I'll just play the game while we're here in the class, and I'll see what's potential. And there's just something about that classroom energy. It just breaks barriers with people. And that you even invite the parents into your space before they leave, so that they can start to help their kids integrate what you taught them. That's just
Oh yeah.
amazing to me. That's
Yeah.
amazing to me.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
beautiful process, and the kids
Yeah.
want their parents to do it too. It's like, can you do this work
Oh,
for my
yeah.
parents?
Right.
And
Well, and that's what you
we,
said too.
yeah, 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 yeah,
That,
they
that
can
there
do
is
it. Yeah,
adult classes.
yeah, there are, and it's funny. I'm such a live in the now, in the moment, because I have a lot of people say, "Oh, COVID did this," or the way it used to be, or what are the kids like now? And I don't compare, and I don't look at how just like I said at the beginning, I meet them where they are. Whoever
Mm-hmm.
shows up on my weekend, they give to me and I give back. Like that is whoever. Sometimes there's a collective energy that happens. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
there'll be the majority of the kids, what we feel is they don't trust. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of this collective, for whatever reason, the kids that just came in to do this weekend, they're not trusting. Then there's a lot of grief. Maybe there's been
Yeah.
some
The themes
pain,
that pop up.
right? There's themes that
Yes.
come in, and we just all talk about. I talk with my coaches during the breaks. What are you feeling? What are you noticing? Because we do the same. We tap in, or there's addiction, or there's abandonment. So there's usually something that's happening. That's no different than when I started doing this work many, many years ago. They're more aware, yes, because of social media.
Mm.
Um, and they know things, like they know what transformation is, they know what certain words are. Um, they know what triggering is, which is interesting to me. Oh, I'm triggered. Then they start using that, and I say, so you know what? Triggers are our teachers. So
Mm-hmm.
think about it. Trigger is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you say I'm
Yeah.
triggered, then guess what? Look at yourself.
Yeah. Right.
Because somebody doesn't do it to you, you're triggered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do about that? Notice,
Right.
what are you triggered about, and be curious about it. Why am I so angry? Why am I so upset? Let it be your teacher. And they love that too. They're like, oh, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
they're learning those things. And I take it and flip it to be like positive, like, okay, great. So what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
And their parents, look, I say, look, your parents are amazing. They're doing the best they can with what they have. So love them through it, because they're loving you through it. And you can change the dynamic of your home if you choose to. If you want more love and hugs,
Yeah.
then you give it. You take
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. You be the one that sits down and has talks with your mom. If you want more communication with your mom, then start it, because
Mm-hmm.
you're powerful, and they do. And the parents say, my child is hugging me now. My child would come home from school, go straight to their bedroom, and not come out until
Right.
maybe after dinner, and wouldn't even sit to dinner. And now she wants to sit and talk to me and hug me. What did you do in 2 days?
Yeah. I know, and
So
that's the amazing thing. It is so short.
yeah,
You
It
know,
just
it's
takes people to show up for them the way that they have been needing.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
astonished at all the things you're saying, because they're all central principles that we talk about
Yeah,
in
for sure.
virtually every video we've done on this channel.
Great.
And I just want to reach out to people. If you like what you're hearing today, please like and subscribe because we go into this in depth. And last week, not to change the subject
Trying to
too
find
much,
them.
this is Christina's dog Sunny. If Sunny will make a guest appearance here.
She just woke up from a nap, so we'll
Oh
have to
my God!
see.
Oh, how
Hi,
there's Sunny.
Sunny.
could you pause? Could you pause? She's like, what? What? I just
So
woke up.
so what we made the offer last week that anybody who subscribed, Sunny would get a treat. So Sunny's getting her treats from the subscribers that came
Oh
in
yeah.
last. I can't believe
You
I'm
Yay.
won't
doing
mind
this.
waking up for this. You're such a good girl.
You didn't know what you were bargaining for, did you, Janny?
Nope.
I think the dog's going to get really fat because you're going to get so many new subscribers coming in. It's going to be
I
crazy. And,
know.
100 treats, that's kind of a lot, Christina.
I know. I know. I was thinking, at some point, maybe we just say like one treat per 5 likes so that Sunny can stay healthy.
There
Well,
you go.
maybe keto treats.
Oh, keto. These are pretty much keto. Well, no, they have sweet potato. They're salmon and sweet potato.
They're probably
You're such a good
non-nutritive
girl.
fiber with a flavor or something like that.
Oh, well, maybe. Hey, these are nice treats, Mark. Sunny just gets the best. You're
Oh
such a
my
good
God!
girl.
Great.
But
All right, so
well,
how can we? I will put the information for the Torch Foundation in the description below.
Thank
Is
you.
there a book that you said you wrote a book, or is there another book you'd like to recommend? I'll also put a link to that.
No, not really. We don't have anything. No, the
Okay.
book I just mentioned was the
oh, the
workbook that
workbook.
I wrote for the kids. Yeah, the
Okay.
workbook.
For the
Okay.
class, yeah.
Um, but if they're interested in donating, they can do it on the website because we offer this to these kids for free,
Right.
and
Hmm.
we want all of them to be able to have this opportunity. And
Yeah.
so, also, I look for coaches. If anybody is interested in being a coach, let me tell
Hmm.
you, it is more than just coaching these teens. Your work, you get a lot of work
Yeah.
just by being in the room. All of our stuff, I still, every time I'm in there, something comes through on me and I'm
Right.
working on the dad stuff or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, being a coach is the most rewarding, beautiful experience. And I train the coaches. So you'll see it on the website. You just sign up to be a coach. I'll get alerted and then we'll have a interview and then you go through an orientation and we do background checks. So we're in the Los Angeles area and um, Boston, New Bedford, and Worcester area,
Okay. All right.
Massachusetts. For
Hmm.
now,
V-
So cool and growing.
yes.
The
very
Torch
good.
Foundation needs a contract.
Also, I
I'm
wanted
a
to make a
nonprofit in every state and every country in the world.
I wanted to make a comment that Christina and I are in the process of developing an online community called Thought Masters. And if you'd like to become a founder with us in that community, just scan that QR code and we'll respond to you. And we're getting ready to launch here pretty quick. And we'll alert you, and the founders are going to get a big discount, but in return, we're going to ask for some involvement, some feedback, and so forth. So, we're trying to get this message out to everybody, just like Jani
Hmm.
is.
Hmm.
It's basically the same message in so many ways.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think what I've gleaned from you the most, from my perspective as a therapist today, is that the problem working with teens is not the teens; it's your mindset.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That you
I'll
have
leave
to
you.
question
Yeah.
your presuppositions.
Yes. And it's not that they don't want to do, I don't think anybody ever wants to not do well or cause problems. We have to remember that about, we were all
Hmm.
teens. It's an
Right.
emotional, difficult times. If they
Right.
could do better, they would. And that's the way I always see them. I see all of them like that. They're not
Uh huh.
out there purposefully doing these things.
Right.
Teenagers are not, that is, it's just what's happening with their developmental stage, what's happening in their brains,
Right.
their emotions, their everything, their hormones are going crazy. And so to give them an opportunity to be at peace and to understand that they're not alone, that
Mm.
everything they're going through is absolutely normal and they're not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That is it. And,
So
I
restorative.
say that to coaches, if they could, they would. They're not purposefully doing this. And we've
Right.
got to remember that about our kids. They're amazing. They're just as confused.
Yeah. Very good. Well, the confusion doesn't stop just because you're not a teen anymore.
Yeah, right, right.
Wah,
That's
wah.
So,
true.
is there anything you'd like to us to know in conclusion, or Christina, any final questions that you have at all?
I just want to hear what Danny's going to say.
Oh my goodness. Final.
No pressure.
I'm just going to say in general, just what comes to me. Life is short.
Uh,
Being here in California with these fires,
right.
life is precious.
Yeah.
Um, we cannot control what happens outside of us. We cannot control what happens in the world,
Right.
the things we do to each other as humans. Only thing that we have control over, have any kind of power over, is our own reaction and ourselves.
True.
And stay curious
Mm-hmm.
about yourself
Mm-hmm.
and love people without judgment. Be aware of judging others, especially even the teenagers and what we see or what we
Mm.
think. And be kind. Be kind to each other. It shouldn't take disasters or things happening where we come together.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe in really good things for this planet, and I believe in good things for our world. And I'm here to be thoroughly used up, as George Bernard Shaw says. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die. And that's my mission and my goal on this planet, is to be used up, to give every ounce of myself and my being for everybody that I come in contact with. And it just happens to be that I'm working with these teenagers, and it is my calling and it is my heart. And if you have some teens that you're struggling with, know that they're just calling out for help. And sometimes we just need to sit in stillness and silence with them long enough to let them breathe and talk to you. And people really do want to do well. Sometimes they just don't know.
Mm.
And just be kind and love, and we're all in this together. It's not, one's against the other or one's better than or less than. We're all in this together. And I honor both of you for doing this work. And Mark, I love what you're up to. I love your passion for this, what you're doing. And it does make such a difference. And, if it's one person, I say if it's only one teen that shows up when I go and fly all the way back there and it's one, I'll be there. And because that's
Right.
it. It's just one, and one makes a difference, and that is the pebble in the pond, because everybody that you might say something to or smile to or just be with, that ripples out to other people,
Mm-hmm.
and we can make a difference in this world. I know it.
Well, I'm so honored to know you, and this has been so much fun and so interesting having you on. We're going to stay in touch, and from time to
Yeah,
Yes.
please.
time, we're
Can
just
we
going to
have her
promote.
back?
Of course,
Part
we're
Okay.
gonna
two.
promote the Torch Foundation, and we'll put the information in the description below.
Yeah,
So,
that's cool. That's a cool idea. I like that.
Yeah, any topic, if you wanted, I'll jump in on some things. I've been around the block for a while. I got some stuff.
Yeah. I would
you
maybe another episode, but I would like to hear your personal method for self-care while you give so much to others.
Oh,
So,
yes. How I
that
take
would
care
be
of the energy.
interesting.
Yes,
yeah,
I
how
have
do
that.
you fill
I would
yourself up so you
love,
can give so well? So,
I love
maybe next
that.
time. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you
Energy
filled
Hear
us
that,
up
healing, right?
brother.
today, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All
Thank you
right,
both.
everybody. Jani, thanks so much for coming.
Yep. Thanks
Thank you
everybody
for
for
having
listening.
Bye bye.
Bye.